What's up? How you doing? Here we are, Wednesday. Today was a bit hot. Now it's nice. Now it's cooled down. We have a little bit of a breeze going. Gonna make some coffee here in a minute. Have my grinder, my coffee maker, my fuel, wooden spoon. Oh, I love this book, Uninhabited Ocean Islands. So it's one of my things in life. I want to go to an uninhabited island by myself and stay there for a week. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but there's a lot of information. I've gone through this book dozens of times, but there's a lot of information in this book. Some islands are close by, relatively speaking, and some are very far. I want to be dropped off. I don't want any, creepy people on there, like the headhunters or the natives, as they say on Gilligan's Island. I want to go to an island where it's just me, some birds, coconuts, fish, things like that, and I'll stay for a week. If it's easier than I thought, I will stay for 2 weeks. Problem is, how do you get there and how do you get back? I don't want to be stuck there for 15 years, but it's one of my things. I want to do that, and the older I get, the harder it seems, so anyway, make some coffee here, and then I'm going to talk about something that about 15 years ago I mentioned on this channel, but I'm going to mention it again. So I'm going to put a little bit of coffee in here, grind it up. So I'm going to put the recommended dosage. So all you need is one of these. Right? Seal it up. Put it to the side. Feels done. You can tell it's done because as you're spinning it, when there's coffee in here, coffee beans, there's a tight sensation, and then it's almost like it gives way, and it's done, obviously. That's delicious. Now, we put that here, and the coffee goes in here. Get the paper out of the way. You don't want to have a fire hazard. All right, now we're gonna set it on. Love that. So anyway, I have a story to tell. It's a true story, 100% true, based on actual events that took place a long, long time ago when I was a kid. So I was a big fan of a television show called The Odd Couple. Tony Randall and Jack Klugman. So I don't know. I was little and I'd watch that show, and the theme. This is like one of those songs that gave you a certain feeling inside. The theme song to that gave me a certain feeling inside, and it made me question, where are we? What's this all about? Like, where am I? Meaning my existence. How did I? What is this all about? How did I get here? I was always during those 30, 40, 50 seconds of whatever that opening was. The combination of that theme music and the images of them walking in New York City and all that, and it was just, I don't know. I felt like I was pulled into some kind of secret reality. I was like, what is this all about? Where are we? That's what I kept thinking when I would see that, and I was little at the time. So, always watched that show. 1 second. So anyway, one day I was out with my parents, and it was this place where it was a pond, and it had a trail that went around it, so people would walk around this pond. It was like 1.3 miles to make the full loop. So my parents had their little picnic blanket out on the other side, and they were kind of relaxing, and I was doing the walk. Little kid exploring. So as I'm walking, I'm coming around the corner there, and there's a guy next to me who, if I really think of what he looked like now, I would say he was maybe late 30s, early 40s, around that age, maybe mid 40s even. Kind of, had a mustache, a bit of a hairy, face. He looked like, what you would imagine Shaggy looking like if he was a real person. Except a little bit older, not a teenager. And he was walking maybe, a few feet over from me. And then, it's like a plane taking off. Whoa. I think I put too much water in there. It's okay. I think I should have put maybe that much less. Let it sit for a minute. There's no sugar in there, so it's not going to get sticky. I'll just rinse it off. Anyway, so I'm walking, and there's a lot of other people walking next to me, faster than me, slower than me, behind me, over there. There's a few people, but he's a little bit over for me. And all of a sudden, I look, and one of those big Cadillacs, the Brahms, Fleetwoods, big Cadillacs. But this was a bigger than usual one because it had, it was like an extra added thing in almost like a limo type Cadillac. And the door opens up, and a guy steps out, opens the door, right, wider, and then another guy steps out and points to the guy that's next to me, and he kind of yells at him to, stop and to come to him. The guy that I'm next to sees this, and he runs towards the pond and jumps in and starts swimming away, and he looked like he was crapping his pants, like he was frightened. So It's like, what the hell's going on? And the person who was doing this, you come here, he was angry, had a suit on and everything. To this day, I am 100% sure that was Tony Randall. 100% sure. I mean, I was a huge fan of that show. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it was Tony Randall. I mean, it was exactly like him. It was a fancy Cadillac. And I remember he came out, he was angry, and he told the guy to come to him, and the guy, he made a look, and he was all, like worried, scared, ran towards the pond, went in, and the Tony Randall guy, who I think was Tony Randall, told the other guy to go get him. And so this other guy who had a suit on also, he runs from the Cadillac, crosses over, comes down the grass, goes over the trail that I'm on, and goes into the water, the pond, grabs this guy, and they take him all wet, dripping wet. They put him into the Cadillac, and the thing just drives off like it was from a Starsky and Hutch episode. They hit the gas, and the thing just took off. So I was convinced, and still am, that was Tony Randall. Like, no doubt in my mind. It wasn't like I looked at it and said, oh, that guy kind of looks like Tony Randall. This guy not only looked like, moved like, acted like, sounded like, everything Tony Randall. So I don't know where they took this guy, but I remember this guy ran into the water, and the Tony Randall guy said, go get him. And the other guy that was kind of like, I don't know what he was, the bouncer in the car, he had a suit on. He went right in the water, grabs the guy, pulls him out. And I remember, they had him, by the back of the shirt there, and they just like pushed him into the Cadillac, into the back, and the thing just drove off. So my whole life I've been trying to figure out, how do I find out if that was really Tony Randall? Well, obviously, I've never confirmed it, but before Tony Randall died, I sat down and I wrote a long letter. I think I found out who his publicist was. Wrote this long letter detailing all of the details of the story there, and I sent it. I never got a response, which doesn't mean that it was actually him. They probably got a lot of mail. Well, maybe not a lot, because at the time I wrote it, he was not, that famous anymore. But if I were a betting man, which I am not, but if I were, and somebody said, would you bet, $10,000 that was Tony Randall? I would bet $10,000 that was Tony Randall. I have no doubt that was Tony Randall. But I've never confirmed it. It's not like I ran into Tony and I said, hey, was that you that time? But, because I was such a fan of the show, I know exactly what Tony Randall looked like. It wasn't like, I saw it one time 30 years ago and I had this vague memory. This is me as a kid watching that show weekly, and everything matched. Voice, demeanor, the way he, moved his body, all of that, body language, everything matched, the face. So every once in a while it pops into my memory, and I think of it and I go, what the hell was going on that day? Anyway, I'm going to get some sugar and I'll be right back. I should bring the sugar out since I'm making this. I don't know why I don't bring the sugar out. I don't know. Got to plan ahead. All right, I'm back. So, a repeat of yesterday. 1 teaspoon of sugar. Coffee. Give it a stir. Milk. So anyway, that's the story, and I guess it's always going to be a mystery in my life. It will not get solved unless Tony Randall has friends that are still alive or family members, and they know something about that. You know, and now it's been so many years that even if it was something, you know, illegal that was going on, they took the guy, they beat the crap out of him. That's so long ago. Statute of limitations has expired. And not only that, I think all the people involved have expired. Great. You know, I think the guy that ran into the pond, he would be dead by now. Tony Randall is not alive anymore. So it would have to be somebody who was young and still alive, and they knew about the situation, and maybe they're watching the video now, and they can contact me in secrecy and let me know if that was really Tony Randall. But you know, it would have to be that it was him, because if it wasn't him, who would know? They would be like, maybe it was, we just don't know about it. But if it definitely was him, and they know the circumstances of what had happened, who that guy was, then, you know, I have the right to know. Because my whole life, that's been something that's been in my mind. You know, always wondering, was that really him? And I don't know. I say, was it really him? But I'm convinced it was. I mean, it would be like, you know, being in a parking lot or something, and then a limo pulls up, and Donny Osmond jumps out and you know, starts yelling, and then gets in the limo and drives off. If you know who Donny Osmond is, you would know what he looked like, and you'd say that's him. It wouldn't be, is that him? Is it somebody else from Utah? You would know. So that's how it is with me, because I was a huge fan of The Odd Couple. I still am. I love the opening, you know. But you know, to me, that show made me question the mysteries of reality. You know, how did we get here? What's going on? Where am I? I mean, if I was born into this reality as an adult, like right now, boom, I just appeared out of nothingness, I would be looking around and saying, who am I? What's going on here? That's the way I was feeling when I was watching back then, The Odd Couple, especially the opening. Like where his wife hands him the pan. I wonder if I can buy that pan at auction. Maybe they still have it. I could buy it at auction. I didn't have coffee today. That's my first cup. Like the Duke boys are driving by. John Schneider and Tom Wopat. Like to hang around with Tom Wopat. Maybe go to a restaurant and you know, talk a little bit. I was a fan of that show, and I said, when I grow up and I get a car, I'm going to get, you know, special suspension and jump it. Not realizing that every time they jumped their car on the show, they had to junk it. You know, I don't know. There's got to be some kind of shocks, some kind of suspension system that you can do jumps like that and land and be okay. Something, maybe airplane shocks. Plus, you know, because the front is heavy, you have to fill the trunk up with sandbags. Otherwise, you're gonna land, like, you know, head first. So can't tell you how much I have a craving for this situation to happen. Many years ago, I thought about doing something like that, going down to San Pedro, and when those big cargo ships come in, go talk to the captain and say, hey, I'm interested in getting a ride with you, and I want you to let me know when we're near uninhabited islands. And I would bring a raft, you know, a 10-footer, fill it up with air, and then toss it off the side of these big ships, and then jump into the ocean, get into the raft, and, you know, paddle all the way to an uninhabited island. But then I started thinking about it. I go, what about on the way back? How am I going to time it just right that I am there to be picked up by this this oil tanker or cargo ship, doesn't matter. And then how are they going to pull me back up? You know, and I have to be at a special spot. Let's say I miss it by, you know, a quarter mile. Like I'm looking this big in the ocean. They don't see me. They keep going. And then what? I have to wait there for the next ship? What about if there isn't a next ship until, you know, 5 days from then? I got to keep going back and forth. So that never happened. It was a good idea, but not that good. But good coffee. A lot of sirens today. It's almost like they're saying, wow, 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 wow. Somebody said we have to make a siren that says wow. It's basically, it sounds like crying to me. Like somebody's crying, I'm hurt, I'm hurt. Who came up with that? So we have to get something that sounds intense. But we don't want to copy other countries. Because they have, you know, different things. But here they have the wow, 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 wow. Sounds like a mother crying. I guess the best way to do this is to find somebody who has a yacht and have them bring you, and then tell them go away, and then come pick me up in you know, 10 days. That's the only way that it's successful. Otherwise, if you go on your own, you know, the ocean is huge. You may be thinking in your head you're going the right way, and you end up in Alaska. Currents take you, you know. South Georgia Island in the South Atlantic. 120 miles long. That's a big island. Then you have I don't know what this is. Kilda Island, Macquarie Island. Then if you go to New Zealand, there's a bunch of little ones. But you know what? My luck would be that I find an island, I map it out, I decide to go, and then somewhere else on the planet, someone just like me is making the exact same plans for the exact same place at the exact same time, and then I get there and they're already there and they screw up my my plans. I don't want that. But you have to get a book, How to Survive on an Uninhabited Island. You can't just watch Castaway and think that you know everything now. You may know how to open up a coconut, but that's about it. Even the fire, he had a hard time. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.